Good evening.
Hi.
How are y'all doing?
We're great. We're great. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
I'm Bhumi Sangvi. I'm representing IndusAge magazine. We're from Australia.
Lovely.
So our viewers love y'all a lot. You have a huge fan following over there. So they are very curious to know more about the film. So let's start.
Please.
Okay, y'all are very selective in choosing the films that y'all do. So what made y'all choose Jersey?
I actually, Josie is a remake of a Telugu film which came out in 2019 starring Nani and Shraddha. And I saw it a couple of weeks before Kabir Singh came out. And I remember when the film finished, I was crying and I was emotionally moved and I was very motivated and it touched me deeply deep within. And even though it was an emotional film, it was an uplifting emotional experience for me. And so it just connected with me in a way where I loved it as a viewer, and I wanted to take that story and hopefully take that emotion that I felt at that time, which has stayed with me and it's a part of me now, to the Hindi audience and to a wider audience. So I had to be a part of the film.
Okay, Mrunal, what about you?
I take a lot of time to decide my films because I want to relate with the character that I'm playing in order to, the audience, I want them to not just watch the movie, I want them to feel the journey. And I want them to go back in their memory lane and relate the scenes with their personal lives. So I was actually in Goa shooting for Ghost Stories, and that's when I got a call for this film. I had not seen the film till then. I was a little hesitant because I was already doing a sports film, and the people around me were like, "Don't do this, Mrunal. Why would you want to be a part of a sports drama?" And I realized that, I just want to watch the movie. I want to see it. I want to see what the director has done. I've never met the director before. I saw the movie. It took me like fraction of seconds to say yes because there was so much in the film. I could relate with the film because of the struggles, because of the kind of challenges that I had in my life, and I could relate with each and every scene. And I could also relate it with the father and the son relationship because I have seen that I have seen my father, working so hard in order to provide 3 kids. That's quite something. So I realized that I have to be a part of this film because it's something. It's been a while that I had watched a movie which was so emotional, and I was crying and I was smiling. There was joy, and very few films do that to you. I had that hangover when you watch a movie and that film just doesn't leave you for 2-3 days. And there was something within me. I was like, I have to be a part of this. I have to be a part of this. And yeah, within a day, like the next morning, I just called up. I spoke to the director. He mentioned that, Mrunal, I saw your performance in Super 30, and I think you are my Vidya. That just made me feel so good. It was difficult character, I must say. I will confess. First week was difficult to a point where I gave up. I cried. I was like, this is not my cup of tea. But the entire team was supportive. Shahid always helped me with all the scenes that I had. They were pretty challenging because there's a lot of difference between Mrunal and Vidya. And Shraddha, who's played, Shraddha who's done in the OG, she's nailed it. She's already set the benchmark quite high. I was worried, will I be able to pull off? But I think I did manage to. Let's wait for the audience to see.
So, like you mentioned that you've recently done a sports film. So,
Yeah.
how is Jersey different from Tufan?
It's very different. It's the only common factor is the sport, the spirit, the spirit. But every journey is different. Your journey is different. Shahid's journey is different. My journey is different. Like we both are actors, but our journeys are different. And especially about my character in Tufan, she was somebody who was supportive, but here I'm not supporting him at all. I'm just being very practical. I'm just asking my husband to provide, and I think that's what maximum women expect or wives expect. Especially in the 90s, they expect their husbands to contribute, to provide, and to make sure that they're taking care of the children and the house and the responsibilities.
And I think India's also really tired of being in this marriage where she is the only one who's trying, whether it is to do with money, whether it is to do with other things. I think that's what is happening between Arjun and Vidya, is that Arjun is going through midlife crisis or something like that. He's going through life in a very disconnected manner because he's not doing what he loves, you know, and of course, you know, as a parent, even if you're fighting with your wife, you know, your love is still very much there for your child, you know, and that I think Vidya feels that you know, she's not really getting anything from Arjun emotionally, and so that's where all the complexity comes from. And of course, there's a younger portion, so you understand where they were and how much fun their life was, and now they are, which is very true, right? I mean, life is like that, you know, life is like that. You go through so many phases, especially marriage, or being a child, or being a parent, or being a sibling. These are relationships in which you go through various phases, you know. So it's interesting that we get a chance to play various phases of, you know, of Vidya and Arjun's journey together as people, and you know, so yeah.
It was quite relatable. Like, there were certain circumstances where I have seen people around me who've been through those phases. So, you know, when I was playing Vidya, Shahid, it's really interesting that, you know, I used to talk to my mother and I used to ask her how was her life, what was her struggles, and what are the kinds of problems she had to face. So I'm just like applying that. I also saw the bond of my mom and my brother, so I could relate, although I'm not a mom, but I could feel. And what was interesting was our director, he's so calm, he's so patient, and he never put that pressure on our shoulder that, Mrunal, you have to be exactly like what Shraddha has done in the original film. So he said, your suggestions are most welcome. You whatever you feel like doing, we would have a discussion. The beauty about, I'll tell you about our director, is he would chat with me for like hours, and he likes to pick up the moments from my life and connect it with the scenes that I'm playing. So he's like, Mrunal, this happened in your life. Remember that day, and remember this day, this particular scene. Why is Vidya the way she is? Why is she in this situation? Why is she so agitated? There is a reason. She's not that person who's very aggressive or somebody, but she's vulnerable. At the same time, she's helpless. She's practical. She's just caught in that situation. She's got no answers, but the only thing is that she wants her husband to take care of the house. But you will see the journey. It's beautiful. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed performing, and when I was watching Shahid perform or be it Pankaj sir, it was just one crazy experience.
So, like you mentioned, and Mrunal was mentioning that it's a remake. So she already said the bar is set high. So, how did you feel when you had to, you know, like replay the role that has already been done?
Well, I have a lot of love for the original film, and I think it's out of that love that I chose to do it again. You know, because if you don't love something enough, why would you want to do it again, right? So there's a lot of love, there's a lot of respect. Because I was a viewer who saw the original film for the first time, I experienced it through Nani for the first time, of course. So yeah, I mean, the film is what it is, and we hope that you know, when the actors of that film see this film, they feel that we did justice to it, you know, and yeah, and see, the idea is you have to take it forward, you have to make it yours.
Yeah.
It's very important as an actor, as a creative person, whatever you do, you have to make it yours. If you're looking around for other people to tell you how to do it, means you haven't spent enough time thinking about it. You know? And if you need to, you know, look at the original performance or go watch other movies to feel inspired, means you haven't done enough thinking and enough research on your character. Because I personally feel that if you really delve deep into a script and look at the layers and the opportunities that are in front of you, if you're choosing to find films which are performance oriented and they give you that opportunity, because a lot of the films that we do aren't, you know, they're just, you know, like they're superficial, but certain films give you that opportunity, and you struggle just to be able to do justice to what's on paper. You know, the script has everything in it. And after that, you just need to work with actors you enjoy working with and feed off each other and try and create truth in that moment. You know, that's the journey. I mean, you have to get there and it has to be true. you can't over process it in your head. The minute you start over processing something, it loses that candidness, that organicness, that like life is like that. Like right now, I didn't know I'm going to be saying the words that I did, but if I practiced and said this, you would just know it, right? And that's how acting is. It should flow.
Correct. So, like Mrunal was mentioning that you worked with Pankaj, so how was it connecting with your father on stage? Like, did he?
On set, you mean?
Yeah, like on set, like, how did you feel about it? Like, did he help you out? Like,
Me and Dad are the type of people, we are very absorbed in the characters that we play, and he's very kind and respectful of my space. And obviously, for me, he is, A, my dad, and B, he's one of the finest actors we've ever had. So there's a lot of respect that I have. But on set, we were pretty consumed in our characters and discussing with the director what we felt we wanted to do. And after that, being in the same frame with him and getting to share that, that moment with him, I just it's great to do that. So it was a pleasure sharing screen time with him. And yeah, but when you're there, you're not really there as father and son. You're there as two actors. Yeah. Between shots, you're sitting having coffee together, chatting about life. But somehow, I think now I've also been working for a while, and he's obviously a veteran. So we both reached that place where we do what we have to do as men and as professionals and as people who are very passionate. Like, he's still very passionate about what he does, and I can also say that I'm very passionate about what I do. So we are similar like that. So it was good. It was great.
okay. So, you all have done like different kind of.
He speaks so well, yeah. Like sometimes you just have to like keep listening to him. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So, you all have played different characters in your movies earlier. So, how is this character, different from what you do? Or, you've recently,
Sure.
that like for a cricket movie, you've done Dil Bole Hadappa, and this is the same spot. So, how do you?
So they're very different films.
Yeah,
That
very
was a
different.
very different film, and However, I understand your question.
Zone, yeah.
You wanna go first, like about how this is different from what else you've done.
First of all, whenever like I mentioned earlier, I choose a film, I see the journey, I see what am I contributing to the story, how, and is this something that I've done before? Vidya is a character that I don't think I've ever played in my life, and she is way too practical, yeah. Like, I love that about her, and that's one thing that I would like to take away. She's different. She's not somebody like, it becomes very cliche in Bollywood that, oh, yeah, I'm the sweet, smiley, bubbly, happy-go-lucky, supportive girl. She's not that. She may be in love. She's in love with him, but you will see certain shades, lots and lots of shades, if I may say so. I felt there was a point where she, through audience point of view, she may get a little in that gray zone. But she's right. Looking at the circumstances that she is in. So that's what actually allowed me to, that's what actually, how do I say, attracted me towards Vidya. Actually, Vidya chose me, I did not choose her.
Okay. What do you want to say about it?
I mean, this is a very different character from what I've played any time in the recent past. Arjun is a very sensitive guy. He's not very expressive. He keeps everything deep within. Actually, Arjun reminds me of, like if you have an elder brother, or if you have like a father, or if you have, somebody who has done so much, but he never talks about it. Those type of people. He's because also the film is based in the 90s, so there were a lot of people like that because I was born in 81, so in the 90s I was a youngster, I was a teenager, and I had a lot of people like that around me. So there's something very nostalgic about Arjun's character. He reminds me of really nice solid men who existed in the 90s, who had deep issues, but आजकल कैसा हो गया, मुझे बुरा लग रहा है तो मैं ना ट्विटर पे कुछ डाल देता हूँ, नहीं तो व्हाट्सएप पे अपने दोस्तों को कुछ बता देता हूँ, या तो मैं ना एक वीडियो शूट करके अपने बेस्ट फ्रेंड को भेज देता हूँ, यार आई एम सो फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, आई डोंट नो व्हाट टू डू ब्रो और समथिंग. बट एट दैट टाइम if a man was upset and if he had class and if he had dignity, he would open the door and go for a walk. He would sort whatever his issues out were and come back and never let his family or his children feel what he's going through. It's a good thing and a bad thing, but there is a lot to learn from that. And Arjun is that kind of a character for me, And also what he does when you see the film is it's, I don't know, it's very, like, I was in awe of the character. It's very it makes you feel very small. What Arjun does makes you feel like, you keep complaining about things which are actually not worthy of complaining, if people can handle something like that. Of course, it's a fictional film, but that's what films do. They show you experiences which inspire you for life, and I felt Arjun had those qualities as a character.
Okay. How is it collaborating with each other, for this movie?
I had great fun working with Mrunal, and
You were nervous.
no, she's very self-assured. I think she tells herself that I should be nervous, and that I should feel like, oh, I am new and this person has done so many movies and all. But as an actor, I feel deep down she's very confident and very sure. Like when she talks about what she wants to do, there is a certain conviction and clarity in her. But she keeps running away from that. Because she still wants to be, I think you still want to be that girl who used to go to school and college. Na? Some part of you wants to stay there only. But, she's very sure, and she's very, in a frame, she finds her own space. And yes, this film has a very strong presence of my character, because eventually the journey is focusing more on Arjun, because it's a sports drama and he's the one who's the sportsman, right? But whatever opportunity Mrunal has had, she has owned it, and I think she has great amount of talent, and she should follow her conviction. She'll be amazing.
Nice. She was very nervous when you were saying that, she was
I
good
thought he
on
was going to say
set.
that, oh, she troubled us a lot.
Did you?
No. Do I look like I would trouble? See? But I've requested my producer Aman to sign Shahid and I for next 3 films. So yeah, yeah. I wish to do all like maximum films with Shahid, and I also keep telling him that we need to do something that's out of the box, that's chill, not as
Intense
not
as
as
this.
intense as. But it was fun.
But there's a lot of happy stuff also.
Yeah,
in
there's
this
a lot
film,
of
right?
happy stuff. It's balanced.
Actually, because we started with all
that
those
intense
intense
stuff.
scenes, we felt like that.
I felt like that. But trust me, he's amazing. And so there are times where Ishan and Shahid, I've worked with both the brothers. The beautiful thing about both of them is that when they are on set, they are not. They're not Shahid or Ishan. They're just the character that they are playing, and that's what is beautiful. He's always so focused, and I love that quality about. Maybe I lack, and I'm going to take that from him, steal that quality from him. And you can feel sometimes when he was performing, for example, that scene where I give you the
What are you saying?
So no, yeah.
Spoiler
it's in the,
alert! Quiet woman.
It's in the trailer. Like,
No, it's not.
not.
They don't know what that part.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened behind the
कुछ
scenes.
नहीं हुआ, डिलीट कर दिया बेटा इसको.
No, I have to say this. I was so lost. Like, I almost forgot that I'm Vidya. You just get so engrossed in that performance. And in the trailer also, you saw that shot where he's like right next to the train, and that moment that he's having. It is मुझे FOMO हो रहा था क्योंकि मैं set पर नहीं थी उस दिन. But I made sure that I came, and the first thing was like मेरे को footage देखो, मुझे footage देखना है, मुझे कुछ stills दिखा दो यार. But everybody was praising him, and he's nailed it, and I think like nobody other than Shahid could play Arjun. He's killed it.
So, what is like that one thing you would want the audience to take away from the film?
The climax. Wait for the climax. That's all I'd like to say to the audience. Just wait for the climax. Everything builds towards that. This is not that film which, the first shot of the film will start and, something drama ho raha hai, ho raha hai. No, it's a film that builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. And I think the most beautiful part about this film is the crescendo. And that's how it is. It is when you listen to anything that's beautiful, when you listen to any beautiful song, anything that's emotional in nature, it always brings you in slowly, and then it builds and builds, and then it leaves you on a high. And that's the kind of film this is. Wait for the climax.
Australia's first Indian magazine to have a national reach, IndusAge is the largest circulated South Asian magazine in Australia with 5 simultaneous editions, 55,000 copies printed monthly, 220,000 readers, largest network of clients, undisputed leader in community news. IndusAge is circulated in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane and Perth to over 525 outlets. Grab your copy now to get the latest on the community, news from India, Bollywood, music and much more. For more info, log on to www.indusage.com.au.